TIFU by jumping off a pier to impress a girl. Okay, so let's all go back to when I was 16. A friend, let's call him John, had asked me to attend the wedding of his mother who was getting remarried. I didn't particularly care about his mother, but I did however care about his absolutely drop-dead gorgeous cousin, let's call her Sansa. Well, rumor had it that she was going to be at the wedding, and rumor had it also that she might even like me. I made that rumor up. So, we head down to a town on the beach where the wedding will take place about a day early. Everyone is staying at this swanky-ass hotel on the water with a cool pier going out into the Gulf. I foresaw romantic nights under the stars on the end of the pier, passionately kissing Sansa as we held each other through the night. Unfortunately, my foresight was about as useless as a blind person using glasses to read. So all us younger folk all end up hanging out, John, Sansa, her friend, let's call her Jean, some other cousin, let's just call him Brandon, and I, walking and talking down the pier. Well, one topic led to the next, and there we are in the middle of a hot and steamy game of truth or dare. I was reeling to have a go at getting dared to kiss Sansa, so I dared John to kiss Jean. They kissed and it was awkward and clumsy, seeing as how they weren't really attracted to one another. So I'm up next and I'm thinking I just set myself up perfectly. Now my great friend John will dare me to kiss Sansa and it's game on. From there I'll be running the bases like Babe Ruth. Nope. Not at all. Lo and behold, John isn't such a good friend after all. He dares me to jump off the goddamn pier. The girls are giggling and John and fudging Brandon are fist-pumping, chanting "Do it." As I struggle with this betrayal, I look to Sansa, who surely wouldn't want me to jump off the pier into the murky water for comfort. To my dismay, she started chanting along with the rest of them. So I figure I'll have to jump at this point if I'm wanting to move from first base with Sansa. I look over the edge and it's about 15 feet, roughly 5 meters, or so down to the water. The water is grayish-brown and I haven't the slightest clue as to how deep it was, but hey, I'm 16 and there's a super hot girl waiting for me to do something super cool. So I stand on the edge and take a second to ponder the style of jump I will perform. I think about doing a full-on head-first dive but change my mind and stick to the ulay legs first, fingers on the nose dive. Up I go and down into the water with a splash. I'm now in the water and I noticed something wasn't quite right, but I'm not sure what it is. I look up and my spectators all have a look of horror on their faces. I'm thinking to myself, this isn't good, but I'm a fudging optimist, so I brush it off and start swimming back to shore, which is a good long way off. As soon as I kick my legs to swim, I notice one of my feet feels a little weird. It's not really responding and kinda just dangly. I roll over in the water and now understand why John, Sansa, Brandon and Jean looked like they had seen ghosts. The water had turned a very dark blackish red where I had jumped in. Not a good sign, but I'm still a fudging optimist at this point and say, hey, it can't be that bad. So I swim like a thrashing wildebeest in the Nile back to the shore. When I finally arrive, I drag myself out of the water and attempt to stand. When I bring my dangle foot up and out of the water, blood torrents from the bottom of it like a waterfall. At this point I am no longer an optimist and don't feel so good about my current predicament. So all the beach goers are crowding me and someone takes their shirt off and wraps around my foot, which only slightly helps with the blood. An ambulance woos its way into the nearest parking lot and the paramedics rush out to me with a stretcher. I get on and they load me up and cart me off to the hospital. On the way I describe what had happened and the paramedic informs me while he is inspecting my foot that the pier has battering piles, which are just multiple poles that go out at an angle to support the pier in the water, and that a fun little creature called the barnacle with razor-sharp shells like to attach themselves to them. I mean, this mother fudger went full David Attenborough on me while I'm bleeding out in the back of his van, so I just sit there in agony and listen. Then out of the fudging blue he yanks something out of my foot and I about passed out from the pain. Apparently I had a large barnacle stuck near the end of my gaping foot hole and he was just distracting me so I wouldn't be aware of his sneaky ass paramedic shenanigans. Well, I get to the emergency room and they start fixing me up. I guess I did a real number on myself, seeing as how I had to get 96 stitches and severed a couple of my nerves too. Well, John's whole family came one by one to see me at the hospital and wished me well. Then finally Sansa showed up. She looked me dead in the face and said, "I can't believe you actually jumped. Like, what the fudge did you think I was going to do? I'm a horny-ass 16-year-old male. I'd have jumped out the 5th-story hotel window if I knew I had a chance to get some ass." So she left me and I sat there in the hospital like a damn fool and missed the wedding. I never saw Sansa again after that. TLDR, went to a wedding on the beach, was dared to jump off a pier, severely injured myself, didn't impress the girl, missed the wedding.